Living with diabetes means constantly balancing numbers, meals, and moments in between. Today, we're talking with someone who knows that firsthand, that balance, and who's using new tools and technology like the Dexcom G7 to understand how daily choices affect glucose, making it easier to stay on track and reach their goals. I want to welcome you, Nathan Harms, to the show.
Thank you, Bill.
You know, for me, this is really fascinating. I know a number of people with diabetes. In fact, in my family, someone has been diagnosed with type 2. I just don't have a lot of information, but there's a lot of tools and a lot of information out there. So I want to start by asking you perhaps to share your story about when you got your diagnosis and what kind of happened, what went through your head and what happened after that.
Well, panic at first, because a diagnosis of diabetes for me was a surprise. There was no diabetes in my family whatsoever.
Interesting.
I was very active. I worked still do, as a painting contractor, so I'm active day to day, and I played squash competitively. So I was very active, and I had some symptoms, and I went for lab tests, and the doctor said, "You have diabetes, my son." I don't know why he said my son, but
probably making you feel like a part of the family. Probably to reduce the stress.
And I went home thinking, I'm sick. And what am I going to do? And I had this mental image of me drinking little nutritional bottles for the rest of my life and not eating a good meal ever again, and all of this fictional things that a person imagines.
But when you do get the information that helps you out, tell me a little bit about managing the glucose before and after what is a really important tool now, the Dexcom G7.
Well, when you first get a diagnosis, usually you go on some oral meds, which I did, and then type 2 diabetes is almost always progressive. It gets worse. So they give you stronger meds. And stronger, and then they give you insulin, which I am on insulin. I'm insulin dependent. But it's very hard to monitor your diabetes because you have to rely on finger pricks. You have a little pin, you jab your finger, you take a testing strip, which is expensive, and test your blood, and it'll say your blood sugar is such and such. But who wants to poke their finger like that 20 times a day?
Yeah.
And so when I found out about Dexcom through a television commercial, I sent away for a free sample, and immediately I saw the advantage of it. Instead of jabbing myself up to 10 times a day, which I did with little effect, I could just look in a moment.
Let's bring this up and kind of show
this is what I see when I go to look at my
And that tells
glucose.
You if your glucose numbers are
my current every 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, and so this gives you, now you can plan. Can you imagine, it's like being without one of these, it's like being on the highway in your car without a speedometer. You don't know how fast you're going. You don't know if your glucose is going up or down or how you're doing. And with this, you can look at it and you say, oh, that's where I've been for the last hour, and this is how I need to deal with it.
And so after discovering this, did you find you stay a lot more consistently in that zone that's making you feel like you can do just about anything, right?
I do. And the consistency, Bill, is the important thing. Because when you're inconsistent, your long-term numbers aren't good. Because you spike up and then you go down, but overall you tend to be up. And when you're reading your measurements on the G7, now you tend to steady out.
It's amazing, and this is going to be incredibly helpful for a lot of people. It already is, but a really important new thing, Ontario recently expanded its coverage of the Dexcom G7 under the Ontario Drug Benefit. How do you think this expanded access will change lives for those managing diabetes in Ontario?
Oh, I can't even imagine how great it's going to be, because, I mean, I have seen what it did for me. And what my treatment of my diabetes completely changed when I switched to the G7, or the CGM as they call it. And I think for people who have struggled, which many people do, with trying to control their diabetes, this is a secret that it'll open up the door to better control. And I think it's just great that the government is going to cover these devices for people who are insulin dependent. I mean, it's fantastic.
That's so good, because you were saying your management was expensive and it was challenging. Now you can live a much more normal and productive and fun life.
I do.
I'm just going to give people Dexcom.com is where you can go to find out more information. I want to thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you, Bill.
And congratulations for finding that consistency that everyone's looking for.